The result of our Fight Night Christmas quiz and the names of the 6 winners who will each get ringside seats, plus a copy of this boxing annual. But first of all, it's Kostas Petrou, the welterweight they call the Greek tank. And the man standing between Petrou and a successful comeback is the former Scottish welterweight champion, Dave Douglas. It's top of the bill here at Digbeth. It's scheduled 8 3-minute rounds. And here's our commentary team tonight of Jim Watt with Jim Rosenthal.
Really good atmosphere here at Digbeth Civic Hall for this one. Kostas Petrou, the Brummie, who always has such vocal support here, looking ready to put his career back on the road against Dave Douglas. Experienced Scot, comes here with the reputation of being something of a stylist, and Petrou always takes a bit of time, or tends to get going, but so unhappy about his last fight, his performance against Sylvester Middy, which he said was the worst showing of his career. Kostas Petrou. Back to us now then, a fighter who has the reputation of taking 1 or 2 rounds before he gets really warmed up, saying he's had a bit of trouble motivating himself after losing that title so quickly, but knows a good solid performance here is so important to keep him right up in those welterweight rankings. But it's Dave Douglas, who's a bit taller and got a nice long jab, who's started off very tidily indeed. Now, Jim Watt, you've seen quite a lot of Dave Douglas. Perhaps you can tell us something about him.
Well, he's probably the complete opposite to Petrou. He's a fast starter. You normally find Douglas's first 4 rounds are his best. And if he fancies the job, he can really be a hard night's work for anybody. There's a lot of talent, good mover, reasonably good puncher. But sometimes he tends to maybe lose interest in fights. But he started off very well tonight, and he's already given Petrou some problems with his jab.
And he's given Petrou a few problems as well with a very decent little right hook, and Petrou's head jolted back towards the balcony here. Kostas Petrou getting to work. And a little smile above us from Douglas. Petrou says not too happy anymore about that Greek tank tag that he's got. He now wants to be known as KO Petrou. Well, you're saying, Jim, that Dave Douglas tends to be motivated if he fancies the job tonight. I would think it looks as though he's enjoying himself. Yeah, it looks the business tonight, all right. I mean, it's early, it's only the first round. But I think Petrou is probably a little bit surprised. I don't think he maybe expected Douglas to be quite as sharp and quite as good. This is a good start from Douglas. But we'll really find out once the range shortens, once Petrou gets a little bit closer to Douglas. That's when the time to grit the teeth arrives. So we'll see what happens then, but it's an excellent start from Douglas. It's a good start to the main fight here. Good first round, and a good effort from Douglas. And Petrou there's his record then. 24 out of 29 with those 9 knockouts and 5 defeats. Losing that title to Mitty just a couple of months ago in September. Dave Douglas been around, won a few and lost a few. This year he's had 3 fights, lost and eliminated for the Scottish title. When Jim Kelly stopped him in 9, he cut up Mike Harris, the Welsh light welterweight champion, in 4 at Solihull, and got a draw with the former ABA champion Paul Kelly.
Seconds off.
Round 2 then, and Kostas Petrou will be looking to get inside and get behind that damaging left jab that Douglas has been throwing so well in the opening moments. It's a fairly typical start, this one, by Petrou. Jim Watt, big crowd behind him, giving him a lot of support, but on the receiving end.
Yeah, well, he's going to take a couple of rounds to get himself close enough to do some damage with Douglas. See, Douglas usually does very little inside. In most of his fights, he's maybe warned for holding now and again. He prefers to keep the action at long range if possible. He's very accurate at long range, very shifty, good reflexes. Then when he gets inside, he prefers just to hold on and let the referee break them up. So Petrou has to get inside and let some punches go if he's looking for success. But as we're saying, plenty of problems at the moment.
A very interesting contrast in styles too out there between the classical style of the Scot Dave Douglas, who's just outside Glasgow, and Kostas Petrou, all action, all guts, and busy. Just looking at Petrou, there might just be a smear of blood around the eyebrow there. That just proves what we've been saying, that Dave Douglas, who brought in a little right uppercut there as well, is having by far the better, surprisingly, as he goes flat on his back and got overconfident. Douglas walked into the little left hook, Jim, didn't he? And walked in, and he's counted out. Well, he got overconfident, Douglas. Perhaps he saw the smear of blood over Petrou's eye, got overconfident, and took a little bit of a sucker punch. Two minutes and 5 seconds. And a fight that turned a complete somersault, really, in that second round. Now, Jim, how do you explain this?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to having another little look at the punches. It looked to me like a couple of punches landed. Neither of them seemed damaging themselves. But yeah, one coming right after the other obviously caused the problems. But it didn't look devastating punches, but obviously the timing must have been bang on. And certainly Douglas was shaken by them.
Didn't look devastating at all, and really Dave Douglas looked to be having a really hot spell there as well, didn't he?
Yeah, Douglas seemed to be enjoying himself. He was boxing as well as I've seen him box. He'd got himself in front as far as I was concerned. Obviously the fight was going to change pattern the longer it lasted, but we didn't get a chance to see that. A good enough performance from Petrou. He did what was asked of him, got himself in close and let go with the punches that finished it. So he'd be quite happy to get back on the winning trail.
I'm sure he will. Well, Kostas Petrou pulled the fight round dramatically and very suddenly, and now he talks to Gary Newbon.
Kostas, the crowd are yelling, "We want Mitty." I should think you'd like another crack at him again, although he's not the title holder anymore.
No, he's not the title holder, but he knows how I feel. And me and him ought to have another fight, and that will put us straight back into it.
That doesn't make up for losing your title, but what satisfaction does that performance give you?
Well, he took a lot of steam out of me losing the title, and I needed a fight. I pressurised, you know, Paddy and Tommy to get me a fight, and they got me one. I've been practising on my punching power a bit, you know, slipping underneath and just letting it go. And that's what I did tonight, and it come off.
He was jabbing away quite well, though, Douglas, up to that point.
Anybody can jab better than me, you know. Everybody jabs me off until I get inside a bit, like, you know.
Well, you got inside. I want to show you that hook, because it was a tremendous punch.
Yeah. Yeah, he's coming forward there, and I'm just trying to, like, set myself up. And I'm just trying to set myself up there now. And he threw that punch, bang. It was a right hand, really, that started to shake him. He just grazed him, and then the left hook just finished him off.
What happens to you now, Kostas? Because you haven't lost very many fights at all. You've got a very good record, but when you go and lose a British title, you can be on the slippery slope if you're not careful. Yeah,
well, this is the whole idea of continuing, you know, to make the successful comeback.
So what happens next? Let's bring in Tommy Lynch, because he'll be making the plans. What happens to Kostas now?
Well, we're prepared to fight anybody. We would rather have Hunnigan, because now Hunnigan is the champion, and we believe Kostas can beat Hunnigan, and we would consider that that would be the fight he should take, as opposed to looking for a world title fight. We think he should fight the best we've got in this country, and I think Kaz is the best.
Right, well, hope you get that fight. It'll be a good one. Finally, what about that nickname, the Greek Tank?
Yeah, well, I was stressing to Jimmy before, I don't really like that name, the Greek Tank, because, you know, for obvious reasons, you know, the T anyway, and I like to be called what they got on the poster now, Kostas Petrou, and that was lived up to it tonight.
You certainly did. Congratulations.
Cheers,
well done. Kostas Petrou, well, from a welterweight, very much on his way